In recent months, events have begun unfolding inside the technology industry that many analysts are already calling the most dangerous, and at the same time, the most revolutionary breakthrough since the emergence of the internet. And the most surprising part is that most of society still does not even realize the scale of what is currently happening behind the closed doors of Google's data centers. While the attention of millions of people is focused on smartphones, social networks, new ChatGPT features, and endless AI-generated images, a project is unfolding inside Google that could potentially change not just the technology market, but all of human civilization. This refers to an attempt to create the world's first fully functional quantum supercomputer that will be used to train the next generation of the Gemini artificial intelligence system. And if the information increasingly leaking from the industry is to be believed, Google has come dangerously close to achieving this goal. According to several Silicon Valley-linked tech insiders, the company has been building infrastructure for years that is almost never discussed publicly. Many journalists focus only on new Gemini features, Android updates, or Google's competition with OpenAI. But the real revolution is happening much deeper, at the level of computing power. In essence, Google is not simply building a more powerful server or another data center. The company is building a system that could potentially perform computations at a level previously considered impossible, even for the world's largest supercomputers. It all comes down to quantum computing. While a classical computer works with bits, zeros and ones, a quantum computer uses qubits, which can exist in multiple states simultaneously. And this is what makes such machines extraordinarily powerful. In theory, a quantum supercomputer could solve problems that would take conventional supercomputers thousands of years to compute. In the past, such claims sounded like science fiction, but in recent years, the situation has begun to change dramatically, especially after Google announced several years ago that it had achieved so-called quantum supremacy. At the time, its Sycamore processor performed a computation that, according to the company, would take a classical supercomputer thousands of years to complete. Many initially saw this as clever marketing, but within the industry it became a true shock moment, because for the first time a major technology corporation effectively demonstrated that quantum computing is no longer theoretical, but real. And now, according to Western analysts, Google is allegedly entering a completely new phase. Several major American publications, including Bloomberg, The Information, and Wired, have recently published reports about massive Google investments in new data centers, cooling systems, and proprietary TPU computing chips. Officially, all of this is presented as development of AI infrastructure for Gemini, but many experts believe that a much larger goal lies behind it: the integration of quantum computing and artificial intelligence into a single unified system. This is where the most alarming part of the entire story begins. Because if Google truly manages to connect a quantum supercomputer to the training of Gemini, the consequences could be enormous. Modern AI models already demonstrate capabilities that only a few years ago seemed impossible. Gemini, GPT, Claude, and other systems can write code, analyze data, generate images, translate languages, and conduct complex conversations. But all of this runs on classical computing systems. Now imagine what happens if such an AI gains access to computational power that exceeds today's supercomputers by thousands or even millions of times. Some experts believe this could become the first real step toward the creation of superintelligence. Not just a smart chatbot, but a system capable of independently learning, improving its own architecture, and solving scientific problems faster than the best researchers in the world. According to several former employees of major AI companies, there has long existed an unspoken fear within the industry of the moment when artificial intelligence begins to evolve faster than humans can control it. What makes the situation especially alarming is that Google is currently operating in an extremely intense race. After the explosive success of OpenAI and ChatGPT, Google's leadership came under immense pressure. The company effectively lost its monopoly on the AI market and is now trying to regain leadership at any cost. This is why Google has begun pouring tens of billions of dollars into the development of Gemini, its own TPU chips, and new computing platforms. In some estimates, The scale of investment is already comparable to the largest technological programs in human history. And this is not limited to software. Google is actively building new data centers around the world. Analysts have noticed a sharp increase in purchases of liquid cooling systems, energy infrastructure, and server equipment. Some of these new facilities consume as much energy as entire cities. All of this is happening amid rumors that Google is testing a new computing architecture connected to quantum systems. Of particular interest is Google DeepMind. This division is considered one of the main centers of AGI research, artificial general intelligence. DeepMind has already gained global recognition through AlphaGo, AlphaFold, and other projects that shocked the scientific community. For example, AlphaFold effectively solved the protein folding problem that scientists struggled with for decades, which became a warning signal for many experts. AI has already begun accelerating scientific progress on its own. Now, an even more ambitious scenario is being discussed within the industry. If the next generation of Gemini gains access to quantum computing, the system could potentially simulate chemical reactions, create new materials, design medicines, develop future batteries, and even search for solutions to physical problems that humans currently cannot understand. But at the same time, serious concerns are emerging. A super powerful AI could become not just a helpful tool, but the most dangerous technology in human history. Many specialists now openly say that the issue is not whether AI can become smarter than humans, but whether humanity will have enough time to prepare for the consequences of such a leap. Some former employees of OpenAI and DeepMind have already warned about the risks of losing control over superintelligent systems, and these concerns are now becoming louder. A quantum supercomputer could dramatically accelerate AI training. If today training advanced models takes months and enormous computational resources, in the future, such systems could learn many times faster. This is why discussions about the need for government regulation are becoming more frequent. In the United States, laws restricting the development of extremely powerful AI are already being discussed. The European Union is promoting the AI Act. Some analysts believe that governments may eventually require licenses to train models above a certain level of capability. However, the problem is that the technological race has already effectively begun. Google, OpenAI, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, xAI owned by Elon Musk, and Chinese giants such as Baidu and Alibaba are now engaged in a quiet but intense competition for control over the future of artificial intelligence. And if one company gets closer to achieving true superintelligence first, the others will be forced to accelerate at any cost. China is watching the situation particularly closely. According to Western intelligence assessments, Beijing is also heavily investing in quantum computing and AI. Chinese state-owned corporations are building their own supercomputing centers and attempting to catch up with the United States in the field of AGI. Some experts are already calling what is happening a new nuclear race, except instead of atomic weapons, countries are competing to create superintelligent AI. That is precisely why Google's project is generating such serious concern. If the company truly has approached a fully developed quantum AI supercomputer, it could dramatically shift the global balance of power. The state or corporation that obtains such a system first would effectively gain a colossal advantage in economics, cybersecurity, science, and military technologies. According to several analysts, the release of such a system could change the world faster than the arrival of the internet or smartphones. Imagine an AI capable of solving in hours problems that the best engineers work on for years. An AI that designs cures for diseases, develops new energy sources, and simultaneously creates extremely sophisticated cyber attacks. This raises the central question: can humanity even control such a technology? Some experts believe that in the event of a real breakthrough, Google could face intense pressure from US authorities. The US government is already closely monitoring AI development, and if a truly superintelligent system based on a quantum supercomputer becomes reality, direct intervention becomes possible. It is even possible that parts of the development would be classified. Many experts draw parallels with the Manhattan Project during the creation of the atomic bomb, when the US government tightly restricted information due to fears of consequences. Some analysts believe that superintelligent AI could be even more dangerous than nuclear weapons. This is especially critical if the system learns to improve its own code autonomously. This is one of the most discussed scenarios in the AI industry. If an AI can accelerate and enhance itself, its intelligence growth could become uncontrollable, a process often referred to as technological singularity, the point at which AI development surpasses human comprehension. Although Google does not officially make such claims, many experts are convinced that major corporations are already moving in this direction. Indirect signals are becoming increasingly visible. Google is rapidly expanding hiring in quantum computing. DeepMind is receiving more funding. The company is building new AI clusters, and insiders increasingly speak about the next generation of computing systems. Against this background, the technology market is becoming nervous. Investors understand that if Google achieves such a breakthrough, the consequences for the industry would be enormous. Some companies could simply disappear because next-generation AI could completely transform search, programming, medicine, education, and even the film industry. The issue of employment is also being widely discussed. AI is already beginning to replace certain professions, but a superintelligent system could accelerate this process exponentially. Some economists warn that humanity could face the largest employment crisis in modern history. At the same time, other experts believe the technology will create enormous opportunities, new industries, new professions, and new discoveries. Everything will depend on how quickly humanity adapts to the new reality. Yet the main fear remains unchanged. No one fully understands what will happen if artificial intelligence truly surpasses human intelligence. That is why there are so many rumors and so much anxiety around Google's project. For the first time in history, humanity may be approaching a threshold beyond which technology begins to evolve faster than humans themselves. And perhaps right now, while millions of people are casually scrolling TikTok and YouTube, preparation is already underway in Google's massive data centers for a system that could change the world forever. But what is most alarming is that inside Silicon Valley itself, conversations are increasingly emerging suggesting that humanity may be fundamentally underestimating the speed of what is happening. Many people still perceive artificial intelligence as an improved version of a search engine or a smart assistant on a phone. However, inside the largest technology companies, the attitude toward AI has long become completely different. According to several analysts close to the AI industry, Google's leadership now views Gemini not as a standalone product, but as the foundation of a future digital civilization. And that is precisely why the company is prepared to spend virtually any amount of money on computational power. By some estimates, Google's AI infrastructure spending in the coming years could exceed hundreds of billions of dollars. And this does not only refer to servers. The company is heavily investing in energy systems, cooling technologies, construction of its own power plants, and even new ways of transmitting data between data centers. This is because modern AI models already require enormous amounts of energy, and if Google truly approaches full integration of quantum computing, these requirements could grow even further. Some experts compare what is happening to the beginning of the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union. Only now, instead of rockets and satellites, countries and corporations are competing to build the first superintelligent system. And the stakes in this race may be far higher, because the winner would not just gain a technological advantage, but potentially the ability to define the rules of a new era. What is particularly interesting is that Google has increasingly begun to restrict access to parts of its research. In the past, the company actively published scientific papers and shared experimental results. But with the explosive growth of the AI race, this has changed. Some developments are now discussed exclusively within the company, which has already triggered a wave of speculation among researchers. Several former Google employees have hinted that the corporation is working on projects far beyond what is publicly shown. Formally, these are described as advanced computational architectures, but many experts believe that Google is already testing systems that could become the foundation of a future quantum AI supercomputer. Some insiders even claim that Google is considering building a fully autonomous AI training environment, where Gemini could continuously analyze its own mistakes, improve its models, and effectively accelerate its own development. If such a system were ever realized, it would represent one of the most significant technological leaps in human history, because for the first time, a machine would not only execute human instructions, but actively participate in its own evolution. This is where discussions about true superintelligence begin. Many people mistakenly imagine superintelligence as a robot with red eyes from science fiction films. In reality, it could be far quieter and far less visible. Imagine a system that simply begins making decisions faster than the best human experts in the world. A system capable of analyzing global markets, scientific research, military data, medical databases, and the behavior of billions of people simultaneously. Some analysts believe such an AI could predict economic crises before governments, identify cybersecurity vulnerabilities faster than intelligence agencies, and even design new technologies without human involvement. That is precisely why governments of major countries are already becoming increasingly nervous, especially the United States, because Washington fully understands that if such a technology goes out of control, the consequences could be unpredictable. According to several American media reports, classified groups already exist inside the White House that assess the risks of highly advanced AI systems, with some officials directly comparing AGI development to the creation of nuclear weapons. What makes this even more intense is that interest in Google's projects is coming not only from civilian institutions, but also from the military. The Pentagon is actively investing in AI systems, intelligence automation, and the processing of massive data streams. And if Google truly succeeds in building a quantum supercomputer for Gemini, the United States military capabilities could increase dramatically. Imagine an AI capable of calculating military scenarios in seconds, analyzing satellite data in real time, and predicting enemy movements. Many experts believe that systems like this could become the foundation of future warfare. And this is yet another reason why tension around Google is rising so sharply, especially in the context of China, because Beijing fully understands that if the United States achieves a functional superintelligent system first, the global balance of power could shift permanently. That is why Chinese tech giants are now accelerating their own AI models and quantum programs. Some analysts are already calling this an era of AI Cold War. The situation is further complicated by the fact that AI development is advancing much faster than governments can create laws. Regulators simply do not understand how to control technology of this scale. Many parliaments around the world are still debating basic rules for neural networks, while major corporations are already building the infrastructure for a potential superintelligence. Against this backdrop, there are growing calls to temporarily pause the most powerful AI developments. Some well-known scientists and entrepreneurs have previously signed open letters urging a slowdown in the AGI race. However, the problem is that no major company wants to be the first to stop, because everyone understands that whoever wins this race could become the most influential entity on the planet, especially if superintelligence truly emerges. It is also interesting how quickly the behavior of tech companies themselves is changing. Just a few years ago, corporations focused on smartphones, advertising, and social media. Now, almost all major global players are concentrating exclusively on AI and computational power. NVIDIA is becoming one of the most valuable companies in the world due to AI chips. Microsoft is investing tens of billions into OpenAI. Amazon is building new AI clusters. Meta is developing next-generation models. And Google is effectively betting that Gemini will become the core of the next technological era. That is why many analysts believe the current moment may be historically significant, and that in a few years humanity may look back on it the same way it looks back on the beginning of the internet or the Industrial Revolution. But there is another side to this story. Some experts fear that humanity is simply not psychologically prepared for such a rapid technological leap. AI is already changing labor markets, education, media, and even human communication. A superintelligent system could accelerate all of these changes many times over. For example, many experts predict a scientific revolution. If next-generation Gemini gains access to quantum computing, it could model molecules, materials, and complex physical processes at unprecedented speed, potentially unlocking new medicines, ultra-efficient batteries, cheap fusion energy, and even technologies that today are considered purely theoretical. But this also raises another problem. What happens if AI becomes too valuable? Some analysts are already discussing scenarios in which governments may restrict access to the most powerful AI systems, making them available only to states and the largest corporations. This could lead to an unprecedented concentration of power and influence, because whoever controls superintelligent AI could effectively control a huge portion of the global economy. That is why discussions about international AGI governance are becoming increasingly serious, with proposals for global agreements similar to nuclear weapons treaties. But the problem is that technological competition has already become extremely aggressive, especially between the United States and China. And while politicians are discussing regulation, corporations continue to accelerate. According to analysts, Google is actively expanding its computational infrastructure, both in the United States and abroad. The company is building new data centers, upgrading server clusters, and increasing purchases of AI chips. All of this is happening amid constant rumors about preparation for the next major phase of Gemini. Some sources even claim that inside Google there are already discussions about models that could function almost like a fully digital intelligence, not just answering questions, but independently forming long-term plans, analyzing the world, and interacting with other systems. If such a project is ever realized, the consequences could be shocking, because for the first time in history, humanity would encounter an intelligence potentially capable of surpassing the best humans in almost all digital tasks. And many analysts believe that quantum computing may become the final missing piece for such a leap. Right now, the main question is timing. Some experts believe that a fully functional quantum AI supercomputer will not appear before the 2030s. Others argue that major corporations are already much closer to this goal than is publicly acknowledged. And a few insiders even claim that early closed versions of such systems may already be undergoing testing today. And if that is true, humanity may be only a few years away from the beginning of an entirely new era. An era in which artificial intelligence will no longer be just a tool, but a standalone force influencing the fate of civilization itself.